All right, so we just talked about how 64% of the country says Joe Biden should not run in 2024. 64%. That's got to be a record for a sitting president. I mean, nobody supports him anymore. He's done. He's done. Everybody despises Joe Biden. Everybody. Well, now this is another astonishing poll that it's hard to wrap your mind around the fact that this is real. 58% of the country believes Trump should face criminal charges over January 6th. A new poll finds that most Americans think former President Donald Trump was responsible for the events of January 6th and should face criminal charges. 58%. So that's basically like every Democrat and most independents. Wow. ABC News and Ipsos conducted a study with 545 adults in the last 2 days, which follows the 3 hearings that the January 6th committee held so far to break down the storming of the U.S. Capitol. The poll finds that 60% of people believe the committee's investigation has been fair and impartial. Meanwhile, 46% of people believe Trump bears great responsibility for the Capitol riot. 12% say a good amount of responsibility, and 70% say just some responsibility. The poll results indicate that American public opinion about January 6th has mostly remained stable as it pertains to Trump's culpability. Only 34% of Americans are closely watching the committee's hearings, according to the data, but 58% of the people believe that Trump should be charged with a crime for his role in the Capitol riot. So from ABC, the poll divides along party lines, with 91% of Democrats thinking Trump should be charged with a crime compared to 19% of Republicans. 19 is still more than I would have thought for Republicans, man. That's almost a quarter of Republicans. On whether Trump bears a great deal or a good amount of responsibility for the attack, 91% of Democrats and 21% of Republicans say he does. Among self-described independents, 62% think Trump should be charged, and 61% thinks he bears a great deal or good amount of responsibility. 62% of independents. Let me tell you guys something. You ain't winning no fucking election if 20% of your own party says, yeah, you're responsible for that shit, and 62% of independents say you're responsible for it. You ain't winning no national election, bitch. You're not. You're not. You're just not doing it. You just don't have enough support. You just don't have the support. So this is huge. This is huge. This study comes after a number of recent polls showed Republicans and Fox News viewers are more likely to believe that Trump acted appropriately on January 6th and President Joe Biden was not the legitimate victor of the 2020 election. On a separate but related note, most Americans seem to believe that overturning the results of the election is a crime, though news outlets seemingly continue to mold public opinion about whether the election was rigged, as Trump repeatedly and falsely has claimed. Okay, look. Here's the other thing that I'm thinking. This was a big story over the weekend, and I wonder how many of these people saw this. Look at this. This is in The Guardian. Trump's raising of $250 million for fund that did not exist suggests possible fraud. The big lie was also the big ripoff, says Democrat Zoe Lofgren after a January 6th panel appears to make case for fundraising fraud. See, this is the thing where, as long as people are exposed to this, they're gonna fucking hate you. Like, if people know that Trump did this, they're gonna fucking hate you, which is why, again, I feel like the way in which you balance your outrage matters. It's one thing to get mad at Trump's tweets, which probably has little effect, right? He's just trolling half the time anyway. It's another thing to get mad at substantive things he's done, whether it was policy when he was president, or if he's literally committing fraud. By the way, just like he did with Trump University, which was a giant fraud. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack appeared to make the case at its second hearing that Donald Trump and his campaign engaged in potential fundraising fraud, raising $250 million for a Trump election defense fund that did not actually exist. Where'd that money go, Don? Where'd it go? The hearing, led by Congressman Zoe Lofgren, also showed that Trump and the campaign raised millions for the fund and then funneled the money to, among other destinations, the Trump business properties, as well as Trump's own Save America Political Action Committee. This is just rank fraud. In showing that Trump deceived donors into contributing money to the election defense fund based on claims about a stolen election that his top advisors told him were nonsense, the panel suggested Trump engaged in potential fraud as well as other violations of federal law. The Select Committee said through filings and other evidence, it found the Trump campaign raised $100 million in the first week after the election and overall raised about $250 million as it asked donors to help fundraise legal challenges to the results. By the way, a lot of those legal challenges never materialized. They never materialized. We have the 60 court cases over specific things in different cases. Virtually all of them Trump lost. But there were other promised lawsuits that never went anywhere. So a lot of this money was just flat out stolen. And again, when people see stuff like this, this is the stuff coming out of this January 6th committee that I think it does make more people turn on Trump. It does, and the numbers are bearing that out. And, you know, we heard Brit Hume, an inside Republican, say in no uncertain terms, look, we want to thank the Democrats because they're taking down Trump, and we feel like we can't win the next election with Trump, so we want to move past Trump. So thank you for doing our dirty work for us. Elected Republicans secretly love that Trump is getting obliterated in this. They love it because they want to be the next big star in the party. And we covered a story the other day about 12 of them want to run against him now and are committed to running against him, even if he runs. It's a different political landscape, man. Biden is toast and Trump is toast. And the more stuff comes out, the more his numbers go down. And this may actually be the end of Trump. Because people have said it a million times, and I always bit my tongue. I did not go along with it because I didn't see the evidence for it. But this stuff, they're just pounding him over and over and over and over. And it's working. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.